Hey guys, Birdman's back. TA, Trans Am Firebird up in the shop. We got number one. Okay, I'm dirty. Let me show you what we got going on. I'm sorry it's been a while since we talked about this car. I know maybe some of you guys are wondering where I've been. I've been very busy, okay? I'm doing greenhouses and business deals. Okay? This is what we're worried about right here, okay? This is what we're worried about. We're worried about cracks, pops, clicks, all right, miscommunications. We got a miscommunication between the brain and the receptors, all right? Look, these are spark plug wires, okay? Somebody did zip tie effect 96, okay? Cracked, misfire. Number one, here's the problem. Number one, I have to tell you about it. All right. I've been having a problem with the engine, okay? Simple issues. Now, I'm not a trained ear. I'm not a trained eye, okay? I'm just doing what I've been doing by myself. I got no friends. Nobody's here, okay? 41 years old. I don't know if the engine's running on all cylinders. How do I know? I can't hear it. Some people can hear it. It's got a miss. It's missing a cylinder. It don't sound right. Okay, these guys got years of like listening to video cassettes and tape cassettes with engines running, and they can tell which cylinder's firing and when. I don't have that. When we look at the wires, we could extrapolate that there's probably some age on these wires. Okay, there's some grease on the wires. There's grease, there's age. I noticed a crack. Okay, I can't find it. It's one of them. There was a crack in the wire, and it was black. It's probably arcing. Arcing meaning that the part of the spark is shooting off of this dipstick here, okay? So I went over to my pile of parts. Luckily, I got an MSD package of wires that was missing one wire. So somebody gave it to me. Hey, it's missing a wire. I bought a distributor, nice guy. And I found another wire that I had from another project that I held because I can always keep everything if it's in decent shape. So I had a couple of these wires floating around, okay? MSD, these are 8.5 millimeter. These are for like a big block Chevy, but it's all the same, okay? Got the wires, throw them on the shelf, okay? Found them. Get this out of here. So I run the wires, okay? Got a book. You got to remember your timing order. What is it? 1 8, 1 8, 5, something. You got to look at the book, all right? I always forget. I always look it up every time. I've been doing this for how many years? You make sure you got your distributor set up with your number one spark plug going, facing the number one cylinder over here. It's 184, 6, an odd, another even, and you go around. Boom. You end up 7 2, something like that. Good. Got new wires in. Boom. I wanted to get involved. I know I've been telling you guys about these battery cables. I finally got a nice new battery cable. Okay, got some things hot rodded up on it. Okay, I got some zip ties tucking it in. The first one, I went to the store, talked to the girl at Napa there. Very nice people. We got a Napa in town here. I said, oh man, I got to eyeball the length. Eyeballed it. I was short. I was short about 2 inches. So, story of my life. I'm pulling on the wire, and I got nothing. So I went back. I got a 51 inch versus a 30-something inch. What is this, a 30? This is a 38 inch. It's too short. I got the 50 inch. Okay, the 50 inch worked okay with some slack. Go to stock starter. You loop it down under the cross member, up against the oil pan, get away from the heat, and you come up by the fuel pump. But this is what we got here. Nice $21 with the little tail there. See that little tail, that 10 gauge wire? That's good. Okay, cuts down on the nonsense on the top here. But this is what I do to them. I put a 90-degree bend to get them on the starter. I don't know if that's allowed. I don't know if anybody's going to yell at me, but that's what I do because I want to come straight in on them because there's a lot of components there. And if you arc out on the solenoid there, you know, things can happen. And you can't get there fast enough to put the fire out if something's arcing out. I stay away from mounting the wire rigid to the frame because I feel like it's a wear point, and then you got an arc there. So you kind of just like zip tie it to things that you seem like, okay, this is going to go where it's going to go. That's what I do. So Now I got the spark plug wires. I'm going to use some zip ties, and I'm going to make the poor man's wire loom. Okay? It's a pretty cool trick. I'm going to show you if I can on this old wire. Okay? So number one, don't take for granted that you don't know, and check your firing on all cylinders. And one way you can do that is when you first start it, go with a heat gun. I'm jumping around here. Go with a heat gun right where the exhaust is coming out, and you can see if you're firing on the cylinders. Okay, you squeeze the trigger, and it tells you a temperature. This is like, what does it say here? This is 68 degrees in here. I'm pointing at something. You point that right at the one cylinder that you're trying to see, and then you know, hey, maybe I'm not firing on all cylinders. Or you shut the lights off in the garage, and you get into the dark, you turn off your flashlights, and you start the engine. Make sure you have some exhaust going outside. You don't kill yourself. But you'll see things glittery like Christmas lights, and you know, okay, things are arcing. All right, this is my first attempt at, what am I doing? Spark plug wire loom. Okay. You can do this neatly. Some people just do this. Look, they just grab them and they twist them and they bang them together. Boom. Two more, right? Well, you want to get 3 and 4 of these lined up. Okay. Let's say this is, yeah, the right one out of here. You got these 4 wires, see? See that? What I could do is, I'll show you. You go loose, right? I'm not going to waste the zip ties, but you go loose, because I don't waste things. You go loose here with this one, okay? And then you go loose on each one of these 4. See that? And then you can come around with another one in between, okay? Right? And it keeps them spaced. And as you go, you can even do like 2 together. And like that, right? And you do a zip tie around that. Boom. That's the way I would do it. I think that's better. So you do loose here, and you zip tie this way, and you go around it. I'll get one more. I'll show you. Anyway, you can make a flat surface where you got 4 wires wide, where they're evenly spaced, and you don't got to sit there and spend the money on the other stuff. Zip ties are cheaper than these wire loom kits. So you got the crisscross. There used to be an old band, Crisscross, man. Make you jump. See that? Okay? That's what I'm talking about. Do something like that. Get the smaller zip ties if you want. I got them over here. Get these little teeny ones. You know, and that just keeps them neat. And then you, as you go with these wires, these were pre-made wires. You try to figure out which one's the longest, which one's the shortest. The rest of them are pretty close in size. It's hard to get these to tick on, like when you push hard. You want to hear the click. You get a flat bar in here and push off the header slightly. Don't break your spark plug, but just push it in so you hear the click. If you don't get the click, at least you know it's snug. This car is having a problem when it's hot, cranking. It'll crank slow when it's hot. So I checked the timing. I changed my battery cable now, and I'm hoping it's not the starter, but the starter will run nice when it's cold, but once it gets hot, the motor, it's having a harder time. It's going, and it's not the battery. Got voltage there. So I did have an extra battery sitting on the shelf here, so I swapped that out for one that's a little easier to grab in and out. I had this huge battery in here. I couldn't get it out. Couldn't get it out of the hole. So I'm going to zip tie these wires down, and I'm going to go for a ride. And I suggest that if you have an issue with a misfire, look at your wires, replace them. Before you replace them, if you want to figure out if they're bad or not, look for cracks, look for mice chews. Make sure if there's something touching metal, you might have an arc there because it's an easy path for that spark to jump. And that's exactly what happened on this. Check your firing order several times, whatever you're working on. Big block, small block, Ford, whatever, Dodge, whatever V8 engines. That's what I'm used to working, Buicks. And that's all I could say. Hopefully you guys like this, found this a little interesting. Don't forget, you know, the engine could be running like a little bit weird, and you're going to start adjusting the carburetor. You're going to start changing timing around, and you might not be firing on all cylinders because you got some bastard things here, man. Excuse my language. You know, this guy is giving me a hard time, man. And I should have known better. They got little numbers on them you can buy, so you know where they're going. I've been doing this enough now where I just get the book out, remind myself of the firing order. Some guys get it like tattooed on their hearts, maybe. They put it on their chest, the firing order. I'm not that die hard with Chevy or Ford firing orders. I'll ramble all day, boys. See ya. Wouldn't want to be you, man.